chance to score a Mall of America Summer Mystery Prize is back. Grab one at any of our KFAN events or anytime you see the KFAN Street Team this summer. Then redeem it at Mall of America for discounts and exciting prizes. Check out upcoming events at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pastime common. He's 10 to be the legendary one, Mark Rosen.
Yeah,
joins us in studio now. You know what? You would be a perfect. You know when they have what do they call them if you're the backup for somebody in Broadway? Understudy. You would be a great understudy for Hopalong Cassidy. Because you're hopping along, but it looks like you're getting by a little bit better now, right?
Well,
Are you seeing, for those that don't know, because you don't bring it up very often, and no one ever asks you about it.
I don't. You do.
You had a knee replacement surgery.
Right.
And are you getting
June 22nd. Yeah.
Are you getting incrementally better? I know.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm probably 2 weeks ahead of schedule. I'm driving, obviously, which is started that last week, and went to PT today, and my guy was working actually under my knee. I mean, it's the area that gets really sore, and that felt really good. And then he did some stims on that and
nice.
Stretched out, and I'm anxious to get back on the elliptical. I had not haven't been able to do any cardio for like 6 weeks. And yesterday was a tough day because I had a lot of running around to do. I had a podcast with Johnny Randall, which was a blast. And then I drove to, I had to drive to like Walgreens and drive to Kowalski's, of course. And you know what the heat was like. You were outside. You were out at the golf tournament yesterday, right? I mean, it was not fun. For me, it was a struggle. It was a mighty struggle yesterday just to catch my breath a little bit, but it's all good.
What else was it?
Origin ahead. Get ready for camp.
283. Hold on. I'm doing my hip cricket passcode. Every 2 hours, you got to refresh it.
Really?
Yeah, every 2 hours.
That's drive you crazy.
And so I just got to make sure because there were so many people that would like to, this one says, thank goodness for Rosen, been in knee rehab. In need of a rehab update since Thursday, and here we are. We just had the rehab thing, so we've got that under.
You're welcome.
The head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings had I would call it his initial news conference of training camp.
Yeah.
They're not really starting anything, I think, actually until like Monday, but veterans reported today, and the rookies have been there for a while as they're getting accustomed to it, and I found this so surprising. He thinks we have the best culture in the NFL. He thinks we have the best facility in the NFL. He thinks we have the best fans in the NFL. He loves his team, and he thinks the team is really excited about the upcoming season where they're headed. It was not just nary a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Did you listen to any of what?
I did not. I didn't. I mean, I realized he was talking to me, but I didn't know what time he was talking. And I was, like I said, I was kind of running around doing some different things. So I did not. I'm reading summation from Alec Lewis, about Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy will take reps for the first team and second team, and he has KOC has a timeline in place to announce a starter to give the team and the players clarity, whatever that might be. I assume it'll be maybe second week of the preseason, but who knows? I don't think it's going to be a lot of suspense in that, but yeah, I mean it's another training camp in the meantime, and Vikings picked up another veteran player. I think that was Teasley's first kind of move as the new GM, picking up Jamal Adams.
You like this Jamal Adams guy?
Oh, he's good. He's going to be perfect in Flores' blitz.
He's a perfect fit for the club.
Yeah.
He checks all the boxes.
He does. So, I did not hear the rest of KOC. I mean, it's yes, I think every coach is sort of like spring, Everyone's eternally optimistic in spring, or in this case, summer, late summer, about the team, about the culture, about the players, and then something throws a wrench in the whole thing, and you got to kind of start over again a little bit. But hopefully that won't happen. They signed Brian O'Neill to an extension, which is a good deal. Obviously, a good deal for Brian O'Neill, and for the stability of the offensive line, that was a great move to not to have that over his head and get that taken care of. So I think, there aren't any, like there used to be. We talked about, I think, yesterday, no, maybe last week, about holdouts. young players holding out or this player holding out. It rarely happens in the NFL.
Which creates a distraction for the rest of the players.
Well, right. Yeah. I don't think
But they like to report.
Yeah, they do like to report that. So, yeah, it's here. I mean, it's funny. I was talking to Johnny Randall yesterday about Mankato, and this Friday, and I'm not quite sure. I know why they're going, but I'm not quite sure there's much to see. There are about 40 old school Viking players that are going to make the trek down Old 169 to Mankato, and
for old time's sake.
Yeah, Gage isn't there anymore. Their dorm is long gone. I think they're basically just going to hang out at Jake's Pizza for an hour or two and reminisce about the old days. Randall talked about, the speed traps, going down there and getting through St. Peter, and especially when you get to Mankato, the cops are always waiting for those guys. And they had to kind of negotiate that. He talked about the famous Keith Millard story when he was going through the drive-thru at Hardee's and was running late. He said, he freshened the story up a little bit. I said, what was the problem? He goes, well, Millard would get a Corvette, but most of the time it was an automatic. This time it was a stick. And I don't think he was really adept at driving a stick. So I think he got confused, smashed his side view mirror into the side of the call-through, the drive-through. And he had to hustle back, and next thing you know, he's walking into Gage holding the mirror in his hand. Just had to beat the
Was he taking a long, hard look at himself? Or?
I don't think that's pretty funny. Well, he may have, but that's just one of many Keith Millard stories. But yeah, those days are, with the air conditioning or the fans or what they had. I remember you saw the video we shot every single year. Those days are long gone, obviously, for most of the teams now, that they don't have those, rustic sort of conditions that they had back in the day. And he said they actually had 4-a-day practices for a while. 4 a day.
Oh, come on.
That's what Johnny said.
I don't believe it.
Well, I don't think he's making it up. Well, yeah, again, the times they are a-changing, and safety regulations, and he did mention, and it's a somber occasion because it is that time of the year. Believe it or not, it's the 25th anniversary of the death of Corey Stringer, and down in Mankato. And speaking of the heat that we had yesterday, it was a very similar day than what we had yesterday, where he was overcome by the heat, and of course they couldn't attend to him quickly enough and get his temperature down. And what a tragic day that turned out to be. And I know they're honoring Corey this year sometime. I don't know if it's just during camp or maybe the beginning of the season. Family members are going to be here. The foundation that they created for Corey, one of the most popular players I've ever been associated. One of the funniest guys that ever. He would have been perfect with your stand-up. He would sit in the back of the bus that I was fortunate enough to be on when we would go to some of the road games, and Corey would be doing a one-man stand-up show back there. And he'd have everybody roaring in the aisles. He could do
the meat sauce of the Vikings.
Oh no, he was funny.
Wait, hold on. Thank you.
You set me up for that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, sauce. Too easy. But yeah, it is. I think 25 years, man. So anyway,
well, that was I think that tragic occasion was what really fast forwarded the idea that. Maybe this idea that we got to work these guys and show how tough you are, and if you got to play in the heat, we're doing 2-a-days and no water and do this. I think that really was finally that's what opened everybody's eyes to finally say we can't do this. It's not proving who's the most masculine or who the toughest is or who the strongest is. You can kill people, as we saw.
Well, if you recall, Common, that morning they had a picture of Corey. At practice from the day before, he was bent over at practice. And I think he felt embarrassed about it. This guy shows up and Randall just.
I think he was embarrassed by it. I think that's
he was, and that's why he pushed himself through it. And he said he had. I think Johnny described him as having some of the lightest feet he's ever seen. He was on his way to stardom. He was already a great player.
Oh, absolutely.
But he had it all from a playing standpoint, and just gregarious and popular. The most, other than Kirby's announcement after he, had woke up, he had to announce his retirement with glaucoma. I mean, without question, the most emotional news conference I had ever seen was the one out at Mankato. And every time I drove by that one building over there, I thought of that when Denny Green and Randy Moss and Chris Carter, I'm not sure if anyone else was there, that just could not hold it together because they had found out that Corey had passed overnight. So, yeah, it's that, fortunately, was the worst of the worst. But it changed the way that teams, you're right, the way that teams look at practices, the water breaks they get now, they make sure they're gauging the temperatures, all the things that were not in place.
Well, even now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this has happened at Winter Park a couple of times. In Winter Park, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't have the best of memories. They've even sometimes just said we're not going to do an afternoon practice today because like yesterday, I don't think you would have practiced.
I can't imagine. No,
I mean the temperature was approaching 100. It was certainly mid 90s, and then the heat index was over 100. That's just that doesn't make any sense. You don't put players out there, and to the point where it's gotten where from that type of approach to playing football, that mindset, that the way they did it in the past, where they push guys and push them, to where now starters won't even play at all in any preseason games. I mean, much less practices in 100-degree heat. They don't, because they're trying to protect their investment in these players and try to protect their lives and their health and welfare, which is the right thing to do. That
was a sign of like lack of toughness. They used to give them salt pills.
Yeah,
even Bud did, I think, when he was coaching for a while. They didn't take a lot of water breaks. So Bud didn't hit. He wasn't one that would beat these guys up all that much because he knew he wanted to take advantage of the time out there in the field and was never one to waste a lot of time. But they would go, 2 or 3, certainly 2 a days and not 3 days at a time. So those days are gone. But Johnny's, one of a kind, and it was fun talking with him yesterday about his Mankato memories. And so a bunch of guys are going down, I guess, Friday to go. I might go with them.
Are you going down there?
I think so, because Karn's got responsibilities down there. So I think we're going to take a road trip. And it's Bob Hagan's favorite place is Jake's Pizza. I mean, come on, that's the place to go, and everybody went there all the time. So I think that I'm sure obviously there's a lot of new places that popped up. We've been down to Mankato. You've been down there doing comedy for a while, and but Gage is gone, and all the stories that went along with it are in the dust somewhere. And there were a whole bunch of them besides the large curfew problem. Everybody's got stories about Mankato.
Bob, time for 2 more. Hagan, pizza's kind of his thing, and he knows every pizza place is best. He? Oh, yeah. I'm a Rafferty's guy up in Brainerd, but in Nisswa, but everybody has to teach his own.
Yep.
So, training camp underway. Mark Rosen making a triumphant return. It sounds like you're going down to Cato.
I think I am. I'm hopeful if I could, get my right foot. Make sure it's working okay. I mean, put the gas down. No, I'm going to get picked up at St. Peter. Was it Cord Robinson? He had the best one at all, right? He had the speeding ticket. Wasn't he the one that was picked up? God, there was a bunch of them. Those guys all got
a lot of trouble.
Stuff. Johnny talked himself out of the ticket, I guess. So, of course, he's got a gift of gab like nobody else.
I ran into Johnny at 3M Open Pro-Am over at the Royal Club when I played there a week ago Monday. He was there playing too. So.
God, he just
he's funny.
Loves the game.
Let's take a break. We'll come back with more the legendary Mark Rosen comment in 10B, and 10B's got a keyword for us.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword credit at KFAN.com now for a shot to winning. Keyword is credit. Enter now, KFAN.com.
You're listening to the Fraud Father, Mark Rosen, with the Common Man.
Common Man along with 10B and Mark Rosen here on the Fan. My favorite subject of all sports talk show subjects is quarterbacks and the quarterback controversy that exists. That's why this is such a great
it's fertile ground
summer for me. Kevin O'Connell addressed the quarterback competition. He said a lot again without really saying anything, but here's what he did say about the QB1 decision. says, I think there's an ideal date based upon training camp to make sure we check a lot of boxes for our team, but also for not only that player, but our entire offense. So, yeah, there's absolutely a date in mind, subject to what we think is best. If we feel like we can make a decision before that date, we will. If we feel like we need a little bit more time, we'll take it. Ultimately, a lot of work's been done to this point and been evaluated, both on the field, where we think guys are at, from their understanding and comfort of our offense. Now we can apply it and really try to push this thing to the point where I think it's going to enhance both players, and I think it's going to give us clarity on where we need to go for this year. So he really didn't say other ways. He does have a date in mind. I don't think he was pressed. Well, what is that date? Is it August 3rd, August 26th, whatever the case may be? He also then clarified the decision will be announced publicly, but within a timely manner. He kind of jokingly said, if you guys are all right with it, they'll probably be the first to know. But then, yeah. So, so I don't know if, what we really don't know is if they've already really made it. Maybe you have no, but what I mean, maybe you have a feel for that. Maybe your opinion is you might think they already have. I kind of think they have. That would just be my guess. Is they grab Kyler. I think they believe that Kyler's going to be the starting quarterback, but that is subject to change of what happens in training camp and what happens. I remember O'Connell saying this. I'm 99% certain. Maybe you guys remember this. He said that both quarterbacks will play in preseason. Mm-hmm. We don't see that a lot anymore. We don't. Like Justin Jefferson didn't play any preseason last year at all. You see that all over the league. Starters do not play because they're trying to protect them from nothing worse than to get a guy, with an ACL, MCL, FBI, CIA, BBC during a game that's pretty much meaningless, right? I mean, it's bad anytime, but you don't want to have it in preseason. But I think in order to see if both, even McCarthy in this too, but is Murray, does he understand the offense? Can he figure it all out? Can you build you can build chemistry with the guys in practice, but it's different when you're playing the first game of the season, And I know the joint practices will help, but that's still not a real football game. And you can even say the preseason games aren't real football games. It's the closest thing you're going to get to them. And then the other question would become, if you're going to play both those guys in the preseason, will Jefferson play? Will Addison play? Will Darisaw play? Will O'Neal? Will your starters play in those games? Because if you have the quarterback playing, but it's all backups on the line, backups on the wide receiver, guys trying to make the teams, is that really giving the guy an idea of how to play with it? See what I'm trying to say?
I do, and I think part of the difficulty, if you're going to gauge, especially Murray, we know he's got some great escapability. That's one of his strengths, and you're not going to, you can have the 7-on-7 drills, and I think a lot of what the determination will be in how those two quarterbacks in particular respond to 7-on-7 drills and how accurate they are and how they're, and this is what we're going to hear from the daily reporters who are out there about so-and-so was 6 for 7, he threw a pick to, whatever. But Murray's not going to really have to, to your point, have to scramble. We're not going to see him when offensive line, the coverage is he's going to have to take off and run. He will,
right?
But no one's going to tackle him. So, I mean, they got 2 preseason games in August. The first preseason game, everything's kind of later this year. The 15th, they play at the Giants. The 22nd, as you mentioned, they got the Ravens here, and that's part of the week when the Ravens are here scrimmaging, using a term, at TCO for a couple of days, and that's those are important days.
And then they play a real game, right? Later.
And they play the game that Saturday afternoon, the 22nd. I would suggest, I guess by the time we're at the State Fair on August 27th, which is the first day of the fair, I think they will
have announced the quarterback.
I think so, because I think it's fair. I think KOC wants the whole team to know. I mean, it's not just you're the guy. I mean, I think it's important for the team to say this is going to be our guy. We got to rally around, and just different personalities. The more I read about Kyler Murray, I think Alec Lewis did a pretty deep dive on kind of a harder guy to get to know. He's kind of a private guy. Doesn't mean he doesn't have leadership qualities, but good friends of his say he just kind of keeps to himself a little bit more, and he's not the only quarterback in the league that does that. But trying to read the room, and because there are intangibles that are involved, and I don't know how the head coach in particular determines that as a former quarterback and what he's looking for in his guy. I mean, we saw Sammy Darnold take over here a couple of years ago and kind of quietly take over the room. I mean, he was, not a boisterous guy, but, you produce on the field and no one really cares what your personality is. But, when you get in the huddle and you're down by 3 and you get the ball at your 20-yard line and your clock is ticking away and you got to take charge of that huddle. I don't know how you duplicate those things. You don't in preseason at all because you never had that situation come up. But they know what his body of work is, and I'd be very, very surprised if Murray's not the starting quarterback.
I tend to agree. As the training camp days go by and then the preseason games, they'll start winnowing down the roster to get to the 53-man. And we know the basic, pretty much most of the 53-man roster is going to be. There'll always be an extra player that, a player or two that you thought were going to make the team doesn't, and somebody surprises you and he does make the team. And then how big is the practice squad? I don't even recall. Tennessee, do you know offhand how many players are on the practice squad?
12, 13?
It's more than it used to be.
Yeah. So then guys get stashed.
It's double digits.
So guys get stashed and they're 12, 13, 14, whatever that number is. And both of you maybe can remind me this. Don't most teams carry just 2 quarterbacks or is it 3 they carry on the 53-man?
The Vikings will carry 3.
Okay.
Wentz will be on the team. It's just that kind of emergency quarterback situation. I mean, they're not going to release Carson Wentz. I mean, he's going to.
Well, I didn't know, but I mean, would he go to practice?
No. He'll be on the roster.
Okay. Yeah. So they'll have 3 quarterbacks there. And then does that mean Rosemer's done as a Viking, or do you think he gets stashed on practice squad? Or I suppose if he felt like he could play somewhere, do guys just ask for the outright release? Sometimes they go, look, I want to go play somewhere where I think I think play.
If the Vikings felt that Rosemer could catch on with another team, they would probably do him a solid, as they say, and release him to see, a team's looking for a guy to make the roster, and just from a financial standpoint, give him a bigger boost. But otherwise, I think Rosemer's kind of headed towards practice squad and or a release this year. He's going to have to fight pretty hard to make that kind of impression to stay on certainly on the active roster. I don't see it happening, but maybe the practice squad.
Here's a text message that says, we're all fine with the competition at quarterback talk, but what I really want to know, how are Rosen's cooking classes going? What new profiles are you in the process of developing?
I always love that one.
Or maybe just throwing some pork burgers on the grill. Because you were doing pork burgers. Have you taken those cooking classes?
I haven't really. Listen, I have not been in a position to be doing much of anything for the last 6 weeks. Just getting up in the morning and when taking 3 steps has been difficult enough. No, I mean, we made salmon last night, and that was in the oven. Tonight I'm going to grill some just pretty basic chicken breasts. With boiled potatoes and but nothing exotic yet. That's probably more fall, like once I get my full recovery and maybe I'll have a little more kind of settle in and take some lessons. But thanks for the reminder, and I will keep you abreast on what's happening with my chicken breast.
Yeah, maybe what you could do is you could come up with some type of a specialty dish.
Okay.
Or food, and then, because of your connections, maybe you could get a booth at the State Fair someday.
Wow.
Or maybe you know what you could do?
Well, not a booth, but yeah, you're right. I mean,
maybe you could go to Blue Barn.
With Steph?
Steph would have you come to Blue Barn with the Mark Rosen rhubarb pie or something like that. Rosen's rhubarb pie.
Well, that would be sweet.
Rhubarb's a little bitter.
They're a little bitter. I saw the new fair food. I don't remember anything that struck me as like I must have. I'm kind of old school. We always talk about this when the fair starts.
You're kind of a Pronto Pup corn dog.
No, I'm not a Pronto. No. No.
He's not a Pronto Pup
I think I've had
guy.
one Pronto Pup my whole life. I don't eat cheese curds that much. I'm more of a corn on the cob.
Really?
Yeah, I like to when we park where we park, walk in.
Yeah.
I like the turkey to go.
Oh, you like that?
Love the turkey to go on the bun. I get that almost every day. Get a corn on the cob and lemonade or something, and I'm good to go. Maybe a couple people have donuts.
Well, see, I like to get things that you generally can only get at the fair.
Okay.
I can get a turkey sandwich and a piece of corn somewhere, and they're good. And I know you can get a Pronto Pup in a corn dog, but usually not just right hot out of the batter and they put in the sauce. Yeah.
Can you imagine having a day like yesterday at the fair? Oh my God!
Oh,
what
trust
a sweat!
Me. We're going to have days like that.
Corn sweat, as Barrero's been talking about.
We're going to have days like that.
Probably are.
There are going to be some. There's no doubt. I mean, we always do. There's always that possibility. I think last year there were a lot of mild days at the very beginning, 70-ish and breeze and no humidity. But my guess is the way this summer's been going.
The ultimate
we might not only have heat and humidity. We might have smoke from forest fire.
Mouth guitar guy coming back.
What do you think?
He's good.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. One more segment to go. It's the Common Man program along with Common 10B and Mark Rosen right here on The Fan.
He never worked a day in the minors. It's Mark Rosen with the Common Man on The Fan. The Fan. Every week.
Couple 13-14 pastime Common. He's 10 to be. Mark Rosen here as well. Bobby Nightingale's beat writer, Fish Wrap Factory West Side for the Minnesota Twins. He writes today, this was released early this morning, it says, how aggressive will the Twins be at the trade deadline evaluating their options? And he spells it out pretty succinctly, and then he gives odds of what they will be. In other words, all-in buyers. He says the Twins have the farm system to swing virtually any trade they want, featuring 4 top 100 prospects in Baseball America's post-draft rankings. A few more Airwhat players just missed the list, like 2025 first-rounder Merrick Houston, a shortstop and right-handed pitcher Riley Quick, who has reached Class AA in his first pro season. He writes, if the Twins were leading the division by several games and their playoff odds hovered around 75%, they would be in a good spot to make a significant splashy addition, but that's not their reality. Don't expect the Twins to mortgage the future when they're still below 500. Many of their top prospects in the upper levels of the minor leagues, so the Twins are planning on them forming a large chunk of their core over the next few seasons. He says the odds of the Twins taking this route as being aggressive all-in buyers is 0%. Soft buyers where, they already did a little bit. They traded for Tommy Nance before the All-Star break. He says about a 50-50 chance of that with the worth. Now, I think also, the asterisk to this would be that what happens in the next 6 games before the trade deadline. They've got 3 with Kansas City and then 3 with, is it Toronto? Who is it?
I'm not even sure.
I don't recall.
I know they got, obviously, KC.
They got KC, and then they have
tonight.
So I don't know what the other one is. Then there's the straddle the line.
At Seattle.
Oh, that's right.
Then it's a straddle the line, kind of where you are right now. He says about a 45% chance. A soft sell, where you sell player here or player there, 5% chance, and then fire sale, 0%.
Yeah.
I think he probably sums it up about right. Again, as much as I think you'd like to see the American League is awful this year. I mean, right now, the numbers are, let me see if he had this at the very beginning of the story. It says, the Twins are 3.5 games back in the American League Central and 1 game out of a wild card spot. FanGraphs estimated their playoff odds at 32.7%, so just shy of 33, which is
just to make a wild card.
1 out of 3. Okay. A complicating factor to this year's deadline is 22 of 30 MLB teams entered Monday within 3.5 games of a playoff spot. 22 of the 30 MLB teams. It almost doesn't seem possible. So that's what makes it a tough call. And also because a lot of those teams are on the same boat as the Twins, game or two either side of 500. And then you look at look what the Red Sox have done. The Red Sox won, I think, 15 or 16 in a row. I think they lost the other day, but they're on a tear, and they're going to be all-in buyers. They're going to go after everybody they can. They'll probably try to get the Tarek Skubal guy from Detroit because apparently he's on the trade block. They don't balk at any of those kind of decisions. So as much as I think we'd like to, in a perfect world, see the Twins go all in and get some players, it's not going to happen, and maybe now isn't quite the time to do it, because even if they were able to get a couple of like a great everyday player, a great reliever, and a great starter, maybe that could push the team over the top. But then you got to get rid of a lot of prospects, and if those guys don't pan out, I'd like to see them. I certainly hope they're at least soft buyers at
the key player, I think, Common, that I'm looking at is their starting catcher who's had injury issues this year, but Ryan Jeffers, who's come back and having a terrific season at the plate and good behind the plate, and great clubhouse, all the right ingredients. But he's going to be a free agent this year, and I think it's probably a foregone conclusion. He ain't going to sign here. So if the Twins can,
do we know that?
I think past history will tell you that they're
all right.
Probably Jeffers will price himself out of the market here. Catchers are a high premium. The Twins have a whole bunch of them in the minor league system, including the one they just drafted, who obviously is not going to be ready next year.
But I'd like to push back on he might ask for too much that takes him,
Well, they could offer him a big contract.
But that's the thing. The Twins can afford it. We know they can. They can say they want all the time. And with what Tom said about wanting to build a contender, then that would kind of fly in the face, unless you think in the grand scheme of having a contending team and where we are and when we think that window might start to shove open, maybe a Jeffers, a catcher, isn't worth our time or money.
Personally, I'd love to see them obviously keep Ryan Jeffers. I think he's a very valuable cog in whatever push the Twins are going to make, and they potentially could be tied with Cleveland's. I think tied right now. They're playing a doubleheader because they had a rain out yesterday with Cleveland with Cincinnati. So they're tied 5-5 right now, and the Twins, they got Taj Bradley going tonight against, a mediocre Kansas City team that's 17 games under 500. So the Twins have pretty good odds of winning that. So I'd love to see them keep Ryan Jeffers and still make, with the number of prospects they have, getting a relief pitcher who's, just a quality guy who can eat up some innings isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg, or our top minor leaguer to get from teams that are out of contention. And I think they could certainly pull that off. I'm not quite sure they're not going to get them necessarily a frontline starter. We know that. No, ain't going to happen.
Which is unfortunate.
But, I think they have enough going for them right now where, believe it or not, as you just said, because of the way that the American League is structured right now, especially for the wild card spot,
they're in the hunt.
They're a game out, and they very well might be, again, tied with Cleveland before they even start tonight. So, yes, it's important to send that message to the fans, and more importantly, again, I talk over and over again to the clubhouse to say, look, we're interested in winning right now. We have a chance. And you can't go, well, what difference does it make? They're going to get in the wild card, and they'll get bounced by the Yankees, or they'll get bounced by Tampa Bay, who's running away with it. But the White Sox are in first place in their division. They're 55-50. This is not a great baseball team. And Texas is.
I like this White Sox
leading well, they're fun to watch. Good for them. They bounced back after a disastrous year, and Texas is leading the West with a 54-52 record. So there's only one team that's leading right now in the American League that's playing really good baseball, and that's Tampa Bay.
Who did you like better for the White Sox, Joe Horlen or Walt No-Neck Williams?
Walt No-Neck Williams was one of the greatest nicknames
he had
in the history of baseball.
He didn't have a neck. His head was just on his shoulders.
It was just sitting there.
So here's what Nightingale writes about straddle the line. This goes to talking about Jeffers and Larnach and others that might be up for on the trading block. It says, the Twins can try to hedge their bets for the final 2 months of the season, acting as a soft buyer while choosing to trade a player or two from the current roster. Jeffers is a free agent at the end of the season. The Twins are a better team with him in the lineup. He's hitting .286 with 2 homers, 9 RBI, and an .856 ops in 9 games since returning from hamate surgery. But there is a risk they miss the playoffs and then lose him to free agency.
Right.
The Yankees, Rays, Red Sox, White Sox are among the contenders seeking catching help at the deadline. There isn't a ton of recent precedent for catchers hitting well as Jeffers being dealt at the deadline. Then it says, like Jeffers, another trade candidate, despite the team's intentions to act as buyers, is left fielder Trevor Larnach. He's been one of the best hitters in the major leagues for the last 2 months, crushing right-handed pitching without hitting many homers, but the organization has a surplus of left-handed corner outfielders. A hypothetical trade involving Larnach who can reach free agency after the 2027 season, opens more playing time for guys like Roden, Wallner, and top prospect Walter Jenkins.
Right.
Larnach, though, has a .403 on-base percentage, a .941 ops over his last 39 games. And this is where, for me, it's a little annoying. It's like Larnach is playing the kind of baseball that I think the Twins envisioned when they drafted him and signed him. And this is what they were hoping to get from maybe some more power from an outfield corner position, but this is what you want. And so now that he's performing like that and you have other guys, other prospects, well, what if those prospects never reach to where Larnach is right now? So you go, oh, we have so many prospects, we can go ahead and get rid of Larnach. You get rid of Larnach, and then maybe because, and again, I know it was just one game, but I watched Walker Jenkins. I went to
Oh, you did?
I went to a Saints game on Saturday, and I think he struck out twice. I mean, he just looked you wouldn't know that he's the prospect that he is by what you saw. But that, again, just one game, and there's slumps. And But my point is I don't like the idea of trading Larnach unless, what are you going to get for Larnach? You're going to get some more prospects, which I guess you can never have too many, but he's one of your best players. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball for 2 months. Why would you want to trade him? That makes no sense to me.
And they got to find another way of getting some more bullpen help. There's no doubt. They've managed to plug the dike a little bit with some guys, Adams and a few other guys that are Gomez that have come on, and when basically the cupboard was empty because of the decision by ownership to get rid of pretty much entire bullpen with the Varlands and the Durans and a few other guys. So had to kind of start from scratch and not leave the manager with a lot of options and when you're trying to close a game out. And now they're in a position against anyone's craziest ideas that this team could actually compete for a playoff spot. And again, there's nothing to apologize for. That's just the way the American League is set up this year. And why not take advantage of it? And I hope they, I don't, like you said, they're not going to be aggressive buyers, and they might fill in the blanks with going, oh, another guy that they've already just acquired, another one or two guys like that are just lively arms and maybe can give them an inning or two, and help win some games down the stretch here. But their everyday lineup has been pretty decent of late. Again, I'm a big Luke Keyshaw guy. You know that. I like his versatility. He's been playing all over the damn ballpark. He can play any position. Brooks Lee and a few other guys that, are turning into pretty good ball players overall, but still need more pitching. And, every time I saw Pablo Lopez up on the broadcast booth this weekend, I'm thinking, oh, man, can you imagine? The guy's obviously missed the entire season, and they haven't made up for his loss, and they never really tried. Oh,
you like this Lynx club right now, don't you?
What's not to like?
Trade deadline's looming.
Well,
do they need to make a trade?
I wouldn't think so. They just picked up arguably one of the best players in the league.
Isn't getting fee from being injured it's like a trade?
It's like a trade.
It's like making him.
Yeah,
walk.
I mean, I don't know what else you do with this team. I mean, Cheryl's obviously got their pulse on this team, and
their schedule is daunting. Apparently, from what I've read, I'm not following the WNBA as closely as I was.
There's always, I'm sure,
but that's what I read in the Fish Wrap today was that the schedule is very, very difficult.
Well, 22-6. They play tonight at home against wherever the Tempo are from. I don't know what they're 16-point favorites tonight.
Is that Toronto?
I don't know.
Tell me that'd be Toronto.
Toronto
Tempo?
Tempo?
You don't pronounce the T. It's Toronto. Either that or Tampa Bay.
Yes, Toronto.
Tempo.
Toronto.
So they're 10-16.
Toronto Tempo.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's Toronto's record?
10-16.
Don't
sleep on that.
Well, this is where you don't want to overlook them.
No, I don't think they. This is Fee's welcome home after all the. She played her first game back on the road, so. Sure, the fans will be very enthusiastic to welcome her, and she kicked off the rust after a slow start the other night and still ended up with 20-plus points. So they got themselves a very nice basketball team. I don't think there's much they need to do. But that's,
Except plan for that parade.
Well, been to a few of those down Hennepin Avenue back in the day.
My guess is now that the team looks like they're the front runners for winning the league, you'll start showing up there at the old.
Well, I'd like to. I got to get my wheels back under me. And
how can that? You're going down to Mankato.
Well,
you're here. You're fine.
I can get over there if they can give me some good seats.
Think about it.
I know.
They can get you some good seats.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
The legendary one.
Unbelievable.
So, I don't know if we talked about this yesterday or not, or last week, but media, those that cover Big Ten football and do their annual rankings, prognostications. They've got, they say the Ohio State is the number one team in the Big Ten, Oregon at number 2, and your defending national champions, Indiana Hoosiers at 3. As Tenna pointed out, probably one of the reasons there is because their starting quarterback is no longer their starting quarterback. He's graduated. He's in the pros now. Gophers are 10 out of the 18 teams, which kind of seems like every time the Big Ten has their preseason rankings,
they're always the same spot.
They're at 10 or 11, somewhere in there. And I don't know if that's ever really going to change for all the reasons that we have documented, including now nil, name, image, likeness. We don't have a Mark Cuban in town, apparently, that wants to pump obscene amounts of money into the program. And so we are what we are. And, I think overall, if you look at Fleck's body of work, it's good. I don't think it's outstanding. I don't think it's awful. I think it's somewhere in between there. It's probably slightly above average, but I don't see anything he can really do magical. I don't think he's so good that he can be one of those his'n and yourns that Bum Phillips used to talk about. Ten brought that phrase up again. Bum used to say he's one of those coaches. He can take his team and beat your team, and he can take your team and beat his team. I don't think there's not many guys that are on that level. Those kind of coaches are few and far between. So I just don't know I think unless something dramatic changes, I think we're just at a point where you're hoping to, you win those 3 preseason games, and then you win 3 or 4 Big Ten games and get to your 6, 7, 8 wins, and maybe win one or two of the trophy games, and then maybe someday it all falls into place and you get one of the invites to the top 12. But it's hard for me to get excited about Gopher football.
Well, you have to do something to change the conversation. And you talk about preseason predictions. It's the people who vote on these things. They're not spending a lot of time on delving into the Gophers roster, probably a lot of other teams as well. They look at what 4-star recruits and who they have coming back, and they have a great quarterback in Drake Lindsey. They got Anthony Smith, who's they've already been voted the number 1 defensive lineman in the Big Ten. So they got some star quality to them. They got a good running back. They got some good wide receivers, but they're not doing a deep dive. And so why would they change their minds on how the Gophers are going to finish when you're filling out, how much time you're spending on this stuff? Not a lot. And it's really, it's up to PJ and this team to change the conversation and win a couple of those games that you're not necessarily supposed to win. And not just, obviously the trophy games are important, whether it's, Iowa, Michigan, but you gotta win one of those games. You gotta become Indiana-like in that respect to earn the respect of the kind of the national, raise some eyebrows. See what the Gophers are doing right now? But until that happens, you're right. I mean, it's not going to change the perception of where this Gopher program's been for the most part in the last how many decades. It's going to take some big win or wins to change that. And it's up to them.
Yep.
Yeah. So they'll be.
We like it. You like our quarterback.
I do. I think he's, he may have the best arm of the quarterback they've had here, since Mark Trestman. I just said that. Are you willing
to go out on a limb and say that Lindsey might be in the Heisman Trophy conversation this year?
No. I don't know.
Because I know you like him a lot.
Well, I think you could be an NFL player, but that's a ways away too. I mean, Max Brosmer's in the NFL.
Max Brosmer.
If you look at it that way, I think Drake Lindsey's going to be, all due respect to Max, I think Drake Lindsey's going to be twice the quarterback that Max was. As smart a player as Max is, I think Drake's got the physical tools that Max just doesn't possess. And he's kind of slimmed down a little bit. He's growing up, obviously. He's just, you're maturing a little bit. He's kind of a big strapping kid. He's got a howitzer hanging from his
Right arm, right shoulder.
Yeah, right
exactly
shoulder.
Right.
So
he does have a howitzer.
He can sling it, but got to make the smart decisions. You got to do the right things, and yeah, I mean, it'll be fun to watch him against some really good competition this year if the offensive line can hold up, give him some time to throw the ball.
And meanwhile, all is quiet at the bullseye with the Wolves and at the slot machine with the Wild, right?
Quiet with that, and the other thing that's going on, I think, Tana, maybe you can weigh in on that as well. I think Bill Guerin was supposed to meet with Minnesota and his representatives out in Michigan. I don't think there's a lot of fans that are wringing their hands and worrying about it to the point.
I am.
Like Minnesota's not going to come back.
I'm concerned about it. I think his brothers play a large part of it.
I think he's going to sign a contract that's going to have his expiring the same time as his